Hello friends, today we'll be discussing about Vision Stimulation 1. Although we act on the information obtained through our sight, we seldom give importance to the process of seeing. Vision and hearing are called distant senses, unlike taste and touch. These senses provide us with information from outside our bodies. Vision helps in alerting us to the presence of helpful as well as dangerous elements in the environment, learning by seeing things, moving freely in our environment, locating the source of sound, reaching to objects, and combining the shape, color, and function of things. Vision is the master of all senses. The variety of information that we get through the sense is unparalleled. The ability to use vision is very important for independent functioning and performing most behavior within each developmental area. Holding objects, looking at and smiling at the caregiver, manipulating toys, searching for hidden toys and objects, playing with peers, etc., are affected by visual impairment. Vision is continuous, whereas the other sensory stimuli are fleeting and unpredictable. Vision acts as a tutor for all the other senses. When the child is born, the visual capacity of the child is very limited. The visual sense is the least developed sense at birth, although this sense organ is the first to be formed in the foetal life. Visual skills develop in an orderly sequence. At birth, the visual behaviors are primarily reflexive and vision is not as sharp as that of an adult. For normal visual development to occur, anatomical and physiological processes are necessary. These processes are believed to be dependent on early visual experiences as well as neurological maturation. Vision is a learned process that adds meaning to what is seen. Initially, the child is able to focus on light stimulus, and later, the child learns to follow the light. Even though the child seems to look at the face of the mother early in life, in reality, they develop the skill of visually recognizing faces clearly only by the age of 3 months. These initial skills become the basis for later milestones like the development of mature visual skills, such as visually guided reaching, imitating the facial expressions of parents and others, and playing with dolls. Reduced vision correlates with poor motivation to move through the environment, manipulate toys, and initiate peer interaction, tendency for physical and social detachment, risk for development of poor self esteem, reduced language and social skills, sense of anxiety. Though vision has a significant role in motor development, surprisingly, children with visual problem tend to achieve some of the milestones of motor development at about the same time and in the same sequence as other infants. These children look at their unseeing hands, begin to sit alone, roll over, take stepping movements, rise on the hands and knees, and stand alone at about the same age as normal infants. However, they show considerably delay in achieving self-initiated mobility and is and in reaching for objects. As they lack the experience lying on the stomach, they are not able to develop the extensor strength or strength of back muscles. Also, this inhibits the use of hands for bilateral activities. But the child lacks the midline orientation, that is, bringing the hands to the midline of the body and visual regard to hand in supine position or lying on back. Reaching and localizing objects in the environment is lacking in the child with a visual problem, And even if it exists, the accuracy is less and the child is messy. The child finds self initiated mobility and the transition from one position to another extremely challenging. The concept of cause and effect is delayed because they do not have control over their environment and have no incentive to initiate movement. A child's ability to visually explore the world is important for the development of many concepts in the first 2 years of life. Object permanence is ability to recognize that the object continues to exist although it can no longer be seen or touched or heard. Child's development in language and abstract thought depends to a great extent on the development of object permanence. In addition, searching for objects and locating them are also indicators of memory and attention, both of which are important for cognition, which means the ability to understand, think, and reason. Spatial relationship, spatial orientation, imitation of verbal and gestural language, discrimination of shape, color, and identifications of objects are the concepts that develop faster with the help of vision. There are some things that should be kept in mind before starting activities. Some of these preparatory activities are listed below. Both the child and caregiver should be ready and comfortable before starting the activity. Address the child by the name when entering the room or while passing through, and also use the child's name when you want a specific response. The best person to carry out this activity is somebody that the child knows very well and is attached to, usually the parent. Keep distractions to the minimum when working with the child. Ensure the safety and hygiene of all the materials used with the child. Try to do all the activities along with the daily routine. This saves the time and also the child learns through more meaningful context. Do not force the child to participate. Cooperation of the child is very important so that the child benefits from the activity. Do not lose hope if the child is not showing interest in the activity during the first few attempts. Even if the child does not seem to understand you, still inform the child what the activity is like before starting it. Some activities may need frequent repetitions in order to develop this child's skills. The age and the level of impairment in the child will determine the rate at which the child learns. Try to do the activities at a time when both of you, that is, the child and the caregiver, are most alert. Be sensitive to the child's responses. Every child may have a different way of expressing their likes and dislikes. Take into consideration the child's likes and dislikes. Encourage the child every time she makes an attempt to respond to the activity or communicate with you. Do not prolong any session till the child is bored. Keep an activity till the child is showing interest and is enjoying it. Do keep in mind that variety makes the child more involved in the activity. Provide physical assistance for the child with physical problems. Seek the professional help in how to position the child with a particular problem. Talk softly to the infant before picking or touching. Read the total body for responsiveness and not the eyes only. Be especially gentle in handling the child because the child does not have visual clues to help prepare for the impending contact. Let the child touch and explore all the materials before you start the activity. Keep giving descriptions of all the items present in the environment to the child. While moving the child from one room to another or from one place to another, keep the child informed of the route so that the child gets acquainted with it. Seek the advice of the professionals before starting the activities if the child is sensitive to visual stimuli or is suffering from convulsions. Start with Try to start these activities in a dark room. When the child is able to focus the attention, try the activities in a room which is poorly lit, then in normal light. Tilt torch covered with color paper. Contrasting colors like blue and yellow, white and black seem to attract the child's attention more than the light colors. So use contrasting colors in all the activities of the child, like the bed sheets, floor mats, wallpapers, the utensils, and the child's dress. To make the child focus on a toy or an object of bright color, try to present the toy against a contrasting background. If the toy is bright red in color, then try to use white or light pastel shades as the background shade. The interesting color combination for children is the white combination. Bed covers can be bought in bright white and the pattern on the bed cover can be in bright black color. Even the bathroom and kitchen can be such that they contrast colors. Choose a plain background or pictures, posters that can be hung. Some children respond best when the area in which they are working is brightly illuminated than the rest of the room. Try one of these activities. Flicker a colored torchlight in front of the child. First, try to use the two primary colors, black and white, and then a combination of colors. When the child is able to look at the torchlight, try shining the light onto the child's hands, face, and feet. A progression of the above activity is to flash the light onto the wall and then move the light horizontally and vertically. Bicycle reflectors are easily available source of bright light, and it can be made interesting by showing different colored gloss papers. Hold a visually attractive toy near the child's face that is about an arm's distance away and slowly move the toys to the sides. Make the child sit up and prop up a mirror in front of the child. Suspend a rattle in the hammock, preferably one that is bright colored and has a sound and moving component. The windows in the house can be stuck with colored cellophane or acetate papers. The ceiling of the child's sleeping area can be stuck with fluorescent stars and sun shapes. Neon laces can be used around the child so as to maintain the child's attention. At home, candles, lantern, and matka diyas are available that can be used instead of torch. But safety measures should be taken before starting with this activity. Tie an elastic string across the child's bed and hang colored papers, decoration papers, rattles, shatterproof mirrors to it so that the child is able to look at the toy and tries to reach for it. Fluorescent balls can be tied onto the elastic string. Brightly colored toys made of shells and objects colored brightly can also be used. When trying to capture the child's attention, use large toys with simple designs. Later, smaller objects can be used. Hand puppets that are big and bright in color are very useful in making the child concentrate on the activity. The ability to locate the source of stimuli is called localization. Here, visual localization is the ability to visually locate the stimuli. This is one of the basic skills in visual development. It starts to develop around the age of 2 to 3 months in normal growing infants. Till the age of 1 month, the child merely reacts to the stimuli, but as the brain matures, the child is able to turn the eyes and the head towards the direction of the light. Since by the age of 2.5 months, the child is able to control the movements of his head. There is a lot of coordination established between the eye and head movements. Staring at the light or any visual stimuli known as focusing or fixation is the skill that tells the caregiver that the child is aware of the stimuli in his environment. When the child is turning towards the source of light, we get to know that the child is interested in the environment. The child then voluntarily participates in the happenings of the surroundings. Try to throw a lighted colored torch towards the child from a different directions and angles. Keep talking to the child when you are doing the above activity, as the child has better understanding of the direction of the light. Encourage each time the child attempts to locate this light source. Use toys, rattles, and bells to make a sound in different directions and encourage the child to locate the source of sound. Try to start these activities first from the sides of the child, then from above and below, and lastly from different directions and distances. The child acquires side to side tracking before vertical tracking. When carrying the child inside the room, switch on the light and ask the child to look up towards the light source. Allow the child to play in the darkness. Suddenly, pull the curtains apart and ask the child from which direction the light is coming from. Tracking means the two eyes moving together and follow an object. The child should have mastery over two skills in order to attain the tracking skill. There are head control and good visual fixation. The child should have an interest in seeing the moving toy or object. As the child's visual maturation takes place, first the child is able to follow along a horizontal line, then through a vertical line, then in a circular pathway. The child should attain the above abilities at least 2, 3, and 4 months respectively. The ability to track gives the child an opportunity to explore the environment that is not in its immediate field of vision, and the child's ability to follow an moving person and keep track of the human face indicates the first milestones and communication and social interaction. Eye contact with the adult also develops simultaneously. The child may not be able to track the objects if there is a deficiency in the basic skills of focusing and head holding. All the activities in the former section of focusing can be applied with a little modification so that the child learns to track. When the child is able to fix the vision on a beam of torch or any other light source, slowly try to move the object to the sides, left and right. A row of serial lamps that glow one after the other can be fixed to the window sill so that the child is encouraged to track the light. While the mother is moving across the room, she should constantly give the child verbal cues or keep talking so that the child is interested in following the mother. Toy cars with fluorescent lights and sound system are very effective ways to make the child follow the toy. Roll a coin or a bright colored ball across the room so that the child can follow it. Marbles that are available in different colors can be spinned across the room so that the child tracks them because of the sound and the color. Blow bubbles out of the soap water and see the child interested in catching it. This activity is best performed in daylight as the bubble reflects the light. Another interesting activity is to hang the disco ball with elastic and shining a bright beam of light onto the ball so that the child is able to follow the direction of the ball. In order to maximize vision, a young visually impaired child must have appropriate visual stimulation as well as physically interact with the visual stimulation to form the brain connections that will last a lifetime. Appropriate visual stimulation involves visual objects that are of sufficient strength to provide the visual centers of the brain and other brain areas with visual information for seeing and for action. However, visual stimulation alone is not enough. The young child must also interact with the visual object, example, reaching for the object, gazing at the object, walking through the doorway in order to maximize vision. Appropriate visual stimulation is possible with visual objects that can stimulate the brain of a visually impaired child. Thank you.